My fellow journeyman, discipline is not a feeling. It is not the fire you wake up with on a good morning, and it does not vanish on a bad one. Discipline is a set of things you do, on repeat, whether you feel like it or not, until they stop being choices and quietly become who you are. Most men have this backwards. They wait to feel motivated, and when the feeling does not come, they call themselves weak. But the strongest men you have ever watched were not more motivated than you. They simply built a daily order, a set of practices they run every single day. And that order carried them on the mornings when willpower never showed up at all. One skipped morning does not look like much. 1 month of skipped mornings is a different man. What follows is a daily regimen. 10 practices drawn from the Stoics, who trained themselves the way soldiers train for a war they know is coming. Run them, and mental strength stops being something you hope for and becomes something you manufacture. Stay to the end, because the 10th practice is the one that locks the other 9 in place. The first practice happens before you have said a single word to anyone. Rise at the first alarm. No snooze, no negotiation, no lying there letting your own mind talk you back down under the warm blankets. Marcus Aurelius, who ran the entire Roman Empire, wrote a private note to himself about exactly this. At dawn, when he did not want to get up, he had to remind himself that he was made for work, not to lie wrapped in warmth. The most powerful man in the world had to talk himself out of the snooze button. So do you. Here is why it matters far more than it looks. The first decision of your day sets the terms for every decision after it. Hit snooze, and you have taught yourself in your very first waking moment that your comfort outranks your word. Rise on the first alarm, and you have already won a small war before the sun is even up. Think of a fortress. It is almost never taken by storming the walls. It is taken through the one gate somebody left open. The snooze button is that open gate, and everything else gets in behind it. The late start, the rushed morning, the whole day spent one step behind. Feet on the floor before your mind begins to talk. That is the first rep, and you take it every single day. The second practice. Do not let the world into your mind before you have armed it. Most men wake and reach straight for the phone. Before their feet even touch the floor, they have poured in 100 other people's opinions, outrages, and demands. And then they wonder why they feel scattered and anxious by 9 in the morning. You would not let strangers walk into your home before you were even dressed. But that is exactly what you do when the first thing your mind touches is a screen full of noise made by other people. The Stoics guarded what entered the mind the way a city guards its gates at night. Marcus wrote that the things you think about shape the whole character of your mind, and that a mind fed on chaos becomes chaos. So give yourself the first stretch of the morning clean. No feed, no messages, no news. 30 minutes where the only voice in your head is your own. Sit, breathe, read something worthy, plan the day, or simply stay quiet. The man who owns his first hour owns his whole day, because he walked into it as himself and not as a reaction to everyone else's morning. The third practice. Do the hardest thing first. Every day has one task you are quietly dreading, the call you do not want to make, the work that actually matters and, if you are honest, actually scares you a little. Most men circle that task all day, doing 10 easy things to avoid the one hard thing, and they carry the weight of it from morning until night. Do it first. Before the easy wins, before the busy work, walk straight at the thing you are avoiding. There is a reason this builds strength and not only productivity. Courage is a muscle, and the hardest task of your day is the daily rep that trains it. Attack it first, and two things happen at once. The dread that would have shadowed your entire day is gone by 9 in the morning, and you have proven to yourself early that you are a man who moves toward hard things instead of away from them. Picture a steep hill you have to climb. Climb it first while your legs are fresh and the rest of the day runs downhill. Put it off and you drag it behind you uphill every hour until dark. Name your hardest task tonight. Do it first thing tomorrow. Then do the same the day after that. The fourth practice. Choose one hardship on purpose. This is the one most men will quietly skip, and it is the one that separates them from the rest. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in all of Rome, set aside days to eat the plainest food, wear the roughest clothes, and sleep hard on the ground. And then he asked himself one question. Is this the condition I so feared? He practiced hardship while he was still safe, so that real hardship, when it finally came, could not terrify him. You do the same with a single chosen discomfort every day. A cold shower you do not cut short. A training session that genuinely costs you something. A meal skipped. A comfort declined. A run out in the bad weather. It is not punishment, and it was never really about the cold or the hunger. It is a daily message sent to your own nervous system, telling it that you can sit inside discomfort and stay calm. That you give the orders, not the craving. Think of steel. It does not become a blade in comfort, it becomes a blade in the fire and under the hammer. The man who never chooses hardship stays soft, and softness always cracks the first time life leans its full weight on it. Choose your discomfort before life chooses one for you. If this is landing, take 1 second and subscribe. This is the entire work here, the daily discipline nobody sat us down and taught. Stay with me, journeyman, because the next practices are the ones that build the inner man, the part no one else ever sees. The fifth practice. Train the pause. Somewhere today, someone or something will try to yank a reaction straight out of you. The rude comment, the bad news, the message that lands wrong. Most men react in the very same instant, and in that instant, they hand their control to whoever pulled the trigger. The practice is to place one deliberate breath between the trigger and your response, every time, until the pause stops being effort and becomes who you are. Epictetus taught that it is not events that disturb us, but our reactions to them, and that the space where we choose that reaction is the one freedom no man can ever take from us. But a freedom you never actually use is not freedom. It is decoration on a wall. So you rep it. Something stings, and before you speak or move, you take one full breath. Think of an archer. He does not loose the arrow on a ragged, panicked breath. He draws, he holds, he breathes, and only then does he release, which is the entire reason it lands where he aimed. Your words and your choices land the same way when there is a held breath standing in front of them. One breath before every reaction. Practiced daily, it becomes a calm that other men cannot explain and cannot rattle. The sixth practice. Say less than you feel like saying. There is a pull in nearly every conversation to say the extra thing, to explain yourself, to impress, to fill the silence, to prove you were right. Discipline is holding one thing back. Zeno, who founded the Stoic school, said we were given 2 ears and a single mouth for a reason. The 48 laws of power sharpens the same blade. Always say less than necessary, because the less you say, the more weight lands on every word you do choose to speak. The man who says everything gives himself away and rattles like an empty can rolling down a street. The man who holds something back becomes deep water, calm on the surface, and people lean in close, trying to read what he is not saying. This is a daily rep as well. In every conversation today, catch the extra sentence as it rises in you, the one that adds nothing but noise, and let it die quietly, unspoken. You will feel the pull to release it. Holding it is the practice. Do it long enough, and you become a man of few words and heavy ones. The seventh practice. Keep one promise to yourself every single day. Most men keep their promises to everyone except themselves. They show up for the boss, the friends, the family, and then quietly break every small vow they made in private. I will train today. I will read tonight. I will not touch that thing again. And each broken promise, small as it looks, teaches the mind one lesson underneath all the others. My word to myself means nothing. So reverse it completely. Each morning, make one small, specific promise and then keep it no matter what the day throws at you. Not 10 promises, 1. Small enough that you cannot talk your way out of it. Real enough that keeping it actually costs you something. This is how self-trust is built, and self-trust is the ground that all discipline stands on. Think of a bricklayer. He does not raise the wall in a single day. He lays one brick, true and level, and then another. And one day, there stands a wall no storm can push over. Every promise you keep is one brick laid true. Break them, and you are building a wall that leans a little more each day. Keep them, and you slowly become a man whose own word is law to him. The eighth practice. Do one good thing today that no one will ever see. Most men only act well when someone is watching. They work hard when the boss walks past, hold the door when it will be noticed, and perform their whole life for an audience. And underneath all of it, their sense of worth is a hostage to being seen. The practice that cuts that chain is to do something worthy in complete privacy. A task done right when cutting the corner would have been invisible. A standard held when not one person would ever have known you let it drop. Marcus Aurelius told himself that a man should be good rather than merely seem good, and that real virtue needs no witness at all. When you do the right thing entirely unseen, you prove to the one person whose verdict actually rules your life, yourself, that your standards belong to you and are not a show you put on for a crowd. Think of a tree standing deep in a forest where no human eye ever falls. It does not stop growing because no one is there to watch. It grows because growing is its nature. Make that your nature too. One thing, done right, unseen, every day. The 9th practice. Put your body under real load. The Stoics never treated the body as something separate from the mind. Musonius Rufus, who taught Epictetus himself, trained that the body must be hardened through effort, because the mind and the body are disciplined together, or they are not disciplined at all. A soft body tends to build a soft mind. The daily practice is simple. Move under resistance until it genuinely costs you something. Lift, run, carry, climb. Not for the mirror, for the mind that gets forged inside the effort. Here is what most men miss entirely. That moment in a hard set when everything in you wants to stop and you do one more anyway is not really a physical event. It is a rehearsal for every moment in your life where you will want to quit and cannot afford to. You are training the exact voice that says, "Keep going," in the one place where the stakes are safe, so that it answers when the stakes are real. Think of the blacksmith's arm, thick and certain, shaped by 10,000 strikes of the hammer. It was not born strong. It was made strong, one strike at a time. Your will is built the same way. Load it daily. The 10th practice is the one that holds all the other 9 together. Close every day with an honest audit. Seneca ended each night by sitting quietly with himself and asking 3 questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What will I do differently tomorrow? Calmly, the way a general reviews the day's battle, not to punish himself over it, but to learn from it. Without this final practice, the other 9 slowly drift because you never actually check whether you ran them. With it, every day becomes a teacher. You catch the practice you skipped before skipping quietly becomes a habit of its own. You end the day with a clear mind instead of a vague, nagging weight. And you wake already knowing your first move. Think of a commander who reviews every engagement, learning from each one, growing sharper by the week, set against a man who fights the same clumsy way every day and never once looks back at it. One of them becomes dangerous. The other stays exactly the same for years. A few honest minutes at night is the whole difference between them. This is the practice that turns the other 9 from a list you once heard into a life you actually live. 10 practices, journeyman. Rise at the first alarm. Arm your mind before the world does. Attack the hardest thing first. Choose one hardship. Train the pause. Say less than you want to. Keep one promise to yourself. Do one thing unseen. Load your body and audit the day before you sleep. Notice that not one of them requires motivation. That is the entire point. Motivation is a guest who comes and goes as he pleases. Discipline is a house you build with your own hands, one practice at a time, until it stands on its own and shelters you on the days you have nothing left to give. Most men will hear these 10 and do none of them, and in a year they will be the exact same man who woke up this morning. Run even half of them every day, and in a year you will not recognize the man you used to be. So pick one. Start it tomorrow. Add the next only when the first has become automatic. That is how a disciplined man is actually built, not in a burst of feeling, in a routine held quietly for a long time. Subscribe and stay close. This is the work we do here, one idea at a time, for men who are done waiting to feel ready. Walk on, my fellow journeyman. Vale.